All right, what is going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Marz Pod. I am your host, Nathan Marzian, joined as always by Brandon Eckel. Today we're going to be talking Bucks, a little recap of what's going on with them. There's been some ups and downs lately, especially in the past week or so, but talk a little bit about the Bucks, and then we're going to get into our All-Star picks. The fan voting results came out today, and some interesting stuff on there, to say the least.
Yeah.
But we'll get to all that. So to start out, let's talk about the Bucks a little bit. Brandon, obviously, I know you're watching every game and stuff. How have you been? What have you been thinking about the Bucks? I know they're 13-8 right now. I think second in the East, but there's definitely been ups and downs. They had that, obviously a 3-point defense was really bad up until the last couple games, and then they had back-to-back losses to the Pelicans and the Hornets last weekend before beating now the Blazers and the Pacers this week, and they have the Cavs tomorrow. So how have you been feeling about the Bucks? What are your thoughts right now about the team, and how confident are you?
I don't know. It's like, you and I, whatever, all Bucks fans kind of know like what they can be, but I almost feel like the way they play is what holds them back the most. Like they can come out there, shoot lights out, hope that the other team misses their threes, which happened the last couple games, for the most part. And then, you got the games like where they dropped to Charlotte and the game before, back to back, where just like it's the stuff where it's almost like it's coming if they play that way. Giannis has been really good. I think he's the last one to blame now. People always still want to partially blame him, and to some point it's fair, but at some point you just have to be able to change up what you're doing. I was seeing the Lakers graphic, and I think they're first in opponent, like the least made field goals by opponents from three, and then they're like top three in lowest opponent 3-point percentage. So obviously, the Bucks saying we'll let the teams that we play pick up a bunch of threes isn't going to work all the time.
Yeah, and I've looked at the stats. I think the Bucks are like sixth in wide open threes given up, but the percentage of those threes that are made against them is number one in the league. It's like 45%. So some of it is people hate to think this way, but some of it is just a little bit of bad luck. But they're still giving up a good amount of open threes. And again, it's a thing that if it's happening in a game, you have to be able to adjust on the fly.
Mm-hmm.
And they've done a fine job of changing up their defenses, throwing different looks at teams and stuff. So I'm happier with Bud than I was in the playoffs last year. He's shown at least that he's willing to, number one, play his stars more. Number two, just play some different defenses. Switching everything. They'll go to an all switching defense for a little bit, and then offensively they have Giannis the last two games hasn't attempted a three, which again before that it's like the threes were the thing that people were getting most frustrated about. It seems like it's basically a wasted possession every time he shoots a three or even a jumper. I don't mind him taking some threes, and I already said this earlier. I don't mind him taking some jump shots, but I'd rather he takes 0 than take 10, because if he's taking a ton of jump shots, that's when you're starting to he's just not going to make that many of them, and those are just you're costing us possessions. Whereas, I want him to take a couple to obviously he's got to shoot some, got to try to improve that a little bit, get more comfortable with it. But when he's just shooting everything around the paint, it's I don't know how you can complain with that, because that's where he's the best. And the last two games, he's now 15 of 19. Every single shot has come from within 3 feet. So, the way they use him is going to be kind of the key for me going forward and in the playoffs, because it can't just be give the ball to Giannis. We've talked about this on the podcast, but it can't just be give the ball to Giannis and have him drive. He is getting better as a decision maker, as a passer, when he gets doubled or when the wall stops him. He looks like he's just, as the season's gone on, he's become a better and better decision maker. Early in the year, people were getting on him a little bit because there were more turnovers. He wasn't seeing the floor as well. He wasn't making as good decisions, and it just does seem like gradually he's just getting more comfortable. And before I was we have to just put it in Middleton and Drew's hands all the time, use Giannis only as a screener. I do think you can just give Giannis the ball sometimes and let him drive and dish sometimes, because he is showing now that okay, he's improving in that aspect. He's becoming a better passer, a better decision maker. So that's the key stuff. It really does come down to Giannis, I think, because we know Middleton's going to be good. And that's kind of weird to say now, like that Middleton's the guy that you almost know is going to be good in the playoffs. Middleton's just so consistent. He's so like he's always good. He's always hitting his threes. I think he's at 46% from three this year. And it's going to come down to like Giannis is going to play good, but is he going to make a lot of good decisions? And just I don't know. It comes down to him for me. That's kind of where I'm at. I don't know if you are feeling the same or if you've noticed any of that stuff. But.
Yeah, no, I love, when they use him more down low in the post, whatever. And I just think they have to do more like you can run all day screen with Lopez, have him roll or pop out with Middleton or Holiday, and just have Giannis on the block, Giannis on the baseline, and still get him feeds, still get him touches, all that, and he's just so much more efficient down low that I don't know why you'd want him shooting 7-8 threes a game, because even if he does make 2 or 3, if you take 8 shots down low, he's probably going to make 6 of them,
Yeah.
So,
yeah, and
you're getting more points down there.
And my big thing is like I would say 2 to 3 threes. If he takes less, that's fine. I wouldn't want him taking more than 2 or 3 unless he's like 2 for 2.
Yeah.
And he's kind of like, okay, he's feeling it a little bit. He can take a few more, not a few more, but a couple more. But I mean, as far as like where he gets the ball, like to me, he should be getting the ball like 90, not 90, but 70% of the time, he should be taking the ball either going downhill already. He should be just on a fast break, like getting the ball and going before the defense gets set up, or touching the ball already in the paint. The other 30%, like there's going to be times where they just need to give him the ball, and like he's got to make a decision, like make a play, make a decision, then drive in the paint a little bit, dish it out, or spin, whatever, do whatever he needs to do. There's going to be times where he needs to be that initiator, like when things just kind of break down, or there's just times they have him do that. Like I'm guessing he's going to have some times like that, but 70% of the time to me is like it should be going downhill before the defense, like because before the defense gets set up, that's when he's at his best. When he gets the ball and goes before they can set up that defense and that's part of why stopping teams from hitting threes is going to help us a lot in the playoffs, because if you let them hit threes, then they get set up on defense and it's a little bit harder. If we can just get the ball and go and Giannis is going, it's so much harder to stop him. And yeah, like we've said, to run the Middleton or Drew and Giannis pick and roll, like they don't do it enough. Middleton and Giannis pick and roll is almost impossible to guard. Same with the Drew and Giannis pick and roll. Like get Giannis going downhill, moving towards the basket. If they, collapse on Giannis, Middleton's going to drain the mid-range shot. If they don't, you get the ball to Giannis and he's already down low. Even if he's got someone on him, he's going to score.
Mm-hmm.
So that to me is, again, the key. It's how they use Giannis. And I still don't think they're going to use him perfectly all the time. Like they're going to have him bring the ball up more than I want them to. But as long as they're, especially late in games, we saw it in the Brooklyn game. Late in the game, it was all just Giannis as a screener, Giannis as a screener, Giannis as a screener, and that's what I don't care if he's used like Shaq. Like it's not like a diss on him to be compared to Shaq.
No,
his outside game just isn't that good yet. And again, it's not terrible. Like he can shoot sometimes, but late in games and just in general, that's not what you want from him. You want him playing more like Shaq, because that's where he's the best, and it helps the team. And you got to have Middleton and Drew kind of as the primary ball handlers. But again, Giannis has improved as a decision maker, as a passer, and just on the drive in general. So I'm not going to go as far as to say like he should never ever bring the ball up or never ever initiate the offense, but most of the time he should. Okay, so that was good for a little bit of Bucks talk, and now let's get into our NBA All-Star picks for each conference. I'm just going to share my screen here. So the way it works is you got 2 backcourt, 3 front court for the starters in each conference, and then you have 2 backcourt, 3 front court on the bench, plus 2 wild card kind of players. So we'll start in the West with your backcourt and front court starters.
Okay.
Who you got for that?
All right, in the backcourt of the West, I got Steph Curry,
All right.
and next to him I got Luka.
Right.
Is that a surprise to you?
It's not. I was hoping because that is what I had as well. I love Dame, but I mean Curry's just carrying that team kind of. I mean they're not doing crazy good, but the numbers he's still putting up, the efficiency he's putting up, while being the only really good player on that team,
Yeah.
is just super impressive. And then Luka, like the Mavs are struggling. Everyone kind of knows it. Luka's struggled from three, but he's still putting up, I mean, damn near a triple double, 27, 9, and 10.
Mhm.
Like I think he's got to be the starter. And again, we love Lillard, but it's just, I don't know. The Lillard's efficiency is a little bit lower than Curry's, and then his overall production, I don't think is and he's like Luka's just so important to that team, but the overall production isn't as good as Luka. So I'm going with Curry and Doncic as well. And then who rounds out your starting lineup?
Okay, so then for the front court, I got LeBron, unfortunately, Kawhi Leonard, and then Nikola Jokic.
Right. That matches mine. I don't think any of these are big surprises. I mean, some people might take out like Kawhi for whatever reason, but because I don't know, people don't realize like exactly how good of a season Kawhi's having, and they're really playing well right now.
Yeah.
I think they're second overall. Are they second in the league overall?
Let's see. I can check real quick.
And I think the Jazz are ahead of them. I don't know where the Clippers are though.
Clippers are second. Jazz are first.
Yeah. So, but Kawhi is just, I mean, he's been amazing. He's second right now in win shares in the league behind Jokic. So it kind of just shows you how valuable he's been. And again, he always does it both sides of the ball. So that's mine as well. I mean, LeBron and Jokic, you don't really need to argue them or make any case for them. They're just, everyone knows how good they've been.
Yeah.
I mean, Jokic is freaking 27, 12, and 9.
Yeah, he's been playing incredible.
57% from the field. Possibly the MVP right now. And kind of between him and Embiid a little bit, I'd say. But
yeah.
All right. Now we'll get to our bench. I'll give my backcourt on the bench first.
Okay.
My backcourt is the Blazers backcourt. I have Lillard and McCollum as my two.
Okay. Interesting.
What do you got?
I also want to say something here to this Bucks defense.
Okay.
I don't think it'd be bad if, thinking Dame, but like you said, Luka does so much for the Mavs, and for Dame, like McCollum, I think he's missed like the past 5 games or so. So, Damian Lillard's production's gone up, his usage, all that. He's having a good season, don't get me wrong, but and I don't think it's just getting points for his stats. Like without him there, they would probably be the worst team in the West. Obviously they're bottom 3 in the West right now, but they've had some close games, whatnot. Anyway, so my top 2 backcourt, Damian Lillard as well. Shout out to CJ McCollum, even though he won't see this because he is having a good year. But I went with my boy Donovan Mitchell.
Oh my gosh, there it is. I knew you'd have a bad pick.
I do not think that's a bad pick. Let's see what the fans think.
No, I don't dislike Donovan Mitchell. I mean, he's had a good year. He was actually in my consideration. I don't know how you could put him this isn't necessarily ranked, I guess, from best to worst on the bench. It's just people we think should make it, but still, I don't know. To have Donovan Mitchell right after Lillard, Mitchell's good. And the one thing is they do need I do feel like the Jazz need someone on here for being the best team in the West and in the league, I think, right now, but I don't know. Mitchell, the efficiency is just kind of and he's 40% from 3, but I think he's 43%.
43% from the field.
What?
Yeah, 43% from the field. I was just checking.
So I don't know. The 23 points per game is nice, but
for me,
Mitchell's just
I don't know. He's been playing big, and they're the number 1 team in the West.
Yeah. Conley's been really good. Gobert's been good. I just think they have 3 really good players, but not an all-star, in my opinion. That's my opinion. I don't know. I like Mitchell, and again, he was in my considerations, but I know you love him, and I knew you'd fall for it. I knew
Like
you
the
would.
thing with Mitchell here too is he's my fourth or fifth guy off the bench, but obviously he's going to look like he's number 2 because he's backcourt here.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Do you want to
The
give
only,
your
the only reason I'm okay with it is because of they're the number 1 team in the West in the league, I should say. But they're number 1 team in the league, and so someone needs to be represented there. So I'll allow it, but I still don't agree with it. Okay, my front court or my back court or no front court. Sorry, yeah, we're on front court now. My front court is Paul George.
Okay.
Yeah, this isn't an order. This is just players we have on here. Anthony Davis, and I have Christian Wood. Actually, Christian Wood just got hurt like 20 minutes ago. I don't know if you saw.
I didn't. I actually saw on FanDuel he was like questionable, but that usually comes if they do get hurt during the game. So I know he had that ankle injury.
Yeah, I didn't see how bad it was, but I heard he got hurt. So, but yeah, okay. So Paul George, he's been kind of quietly people kind of just gloss over him because he was pretty bad in the playoffs. But 24, 6, and 6. He's shooting 50, 40, 90, 48% from 3. Like the efficiency's been great. Overall, he's just been fantastic. And I mean, at the beginning of the year, it looked like from what I remember, he kind of struggled at the beginning of the year. But I was going to say Mitchell struggled at the beginning of the year too. He was really not shooting the ball well. Come around a little bit. But yeah, Paul George overall just been fantastic. So he definitely deserves to be here. Anthony Davis, again, not a guy you really need to make an argument for. He's Anthony Davis, averaging 22 and 9. He's been fantastic. And then Christian Wood is.
I did not think you had Christian Wood on there. I did.
Yeah, I do have him. 22 and 10, 55% from the field. I mean, it just came down to we'll talk a little bit about guys we left off, but I just looked at the other people and I was like, I think Christian Wood's had the best year out of these players. Again, he's averaging double-double, so it's hard to really argue too much with it. But yeah, that's my front court.
Okay. Also, one more time, the Bucks defense. I like your point back. Same with the Mavs. They did have a lot of players out. So yeah. Anyways, all right. My front court. I also have Paul George, Anthony Davis. We'll see what you think about this pick. Zion Williamson.
Okay, I like it a little bit more than I like the Donovan Mitchell one. Because I was debating. I debated putting him on.
Like, I don't like that he's not shooting outside of the paint, but this is what we say with Giannis. Like, he's putting up 23, 24 points a game. He's been super dominant, and he's not even trying to shoot outside, really. So, it's like, I don't know. So I give him the edge there.
Yeah, I don't mind it. He was another guy I was considering. There's going to be guys left off both of these conferences because there's just so many good players. There's so many good players. Like, as I'm looking at it, I'm just like, holy crap! Like, these guys could. I mean, any one of these players could make it, but there's just going to have to be people that get left off because there's only a certain amount of spots. Mm-hmm. And so in the East as well as the West, Zion's a guy I don't dislike Zion at all. He's been really good, but I did not have him on here. But yeah, there's just gonna be guys left off. Who are your other two kind of wild card picks for the?
I do have CJ McCollum on there. Okay. Like I said, I also wanted to kind of give Mitchell the benefit of the doubt because they're the 1 seed. McCollum's missed 8 games this year. I was double checking that. Yeah. So to me, that's kind of a lot to miss, but he has been playing great. And then I got the guy who deserves another one, Brandon Ingram.
Okay.
Which he was tough. I was going back and forth with him and Christian Wood. Christian Wood was my next up. But I gave Ingram the benefit of the doubt because he's been doing it year in and year out, and he's got more talent around him, more guys to score, whatever. Ingram's been really good this year.
Yeah, I had Ingram in originally, and then I swapped him out for Wood. But he was really close. My 2 other picks, my wild card picks, are actually 2 different guys. I like this. We have a little bit of differences.
Yeah.
My 2 wild card picks: DeMar DeRozan.
Okay.
And I have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Not bad. I was really close to him as well. I was really close.
And yeah, I mean DeMar is super underrated now, I feel like, because what is he putting up? He's averaging 25 and 7, and he's kind of like he plays like the Jimmy Butler role on that team a little bit, where
Mhm.
like Jimmy Butler, if he played a full season, would be an all-star. He hasn't played anywhere close to that. So DeMar DeRozan plays kind of that role on the team where he's the one that's kind of always got the ball in his hands. He's initiating everything, become a much better playmaker.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's been fantastic this year. I have him on my fantasy team, so I've been happy with him. And yeah, he just consistently puts up 20 something points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, and he just, he's a really good player for that team. So I think he's become very underrated. And yeah, I just think he deserves some recognition here. And then with Shea Gilgeous, he's averaging 22, 5, and 6, 51% from the floor, 38% from three.
Yeah.
And again, another guy that's very valuable to that team, and I just think deserves some recognition. But guys that got left off, Brandon Ingram, Zion, I have Donovan Mitchell close to being on there, but I don't know. The efficiency just doesn't do it for me. Devin Booker, another guy who very similar to Mitchell, 23 points per game, but not very good efficiency. And then Chris Paul is somewhat close, but didn't include him. I don't know if you have anyone else you want to mention.
I got all those guys the same actually. Why Christian Wood, but you have him on there.
Yeah.
And then down here, he said Darren Fox. He has been really good this year, but he's not a very good 3-point shooter. The Kings continue to struggle. That's where I have the trouble with him. And they're like you said, there are just so many like good players in the West, especially like all those guards above. And maybe you're just saying, what about Darren Fox? He's been playing real good. Kind of inconsistent-ish. I don't know. I don't like saying that, but he has had a couple rough games. But like even Chris Paul has been big for the Suns. Booker, like you said. So
yeah, and it's funny because I ended up there was 2 guys from the Suns I kind of left off, and then 2 guys from the Pelicans. And I mean, I don't know. Like it feels bad to not have any of those guys represented, but they barely miss. And again, there's guys that are just gonna miss because there's too many good players. It is the NBA. There are a lot of good players. So
yeah.
all right, let's move to the East. Scroll down here. All right. You can start here. What's your East starting backcourt? We'll start with.
Okay, I think I might have a surprising pick here. But
The East is a little bit more can go a few different ways than the West, at least with the backcourt.
Okay, so this one's not Kyrie Irving. Shooting guard, I went with Jaylen Brown.
Okay.
I went with him because, first of all, Tatum's front court, so I'd probably give Tatum the edge otherwise. But he did just miss some games as well. Brown shooting almost 43% from three. He's 42.5%, putting up 26, 5 and 3, 5.5, 3.5. So he's been having a really good year. And I gave him the benefit of the doubt over Bradley Beal because I'm just really sick of all this Bradley Beal talk for as bad as the Wizards are.
I am not a Bradley Beal fan. What was that?
I would just say you can go put up 35 and Russ can get your triple double. But at the end of the day, if that's all the Wizards care about, then they're not winning many games.
Yeah, I am not a Bradley Beal fan. I'm not out here trying to. I don't really like him, but I do have him in my starting lineup.
He sold out, boys. He sold out.
I did. This is a little bit of a sellout. I don't know. I'm sick of hearing about it, and I'm like, fine, just give him the starting lineup. Cool. He averages 34 a game, which again, I mean, he's played well, and just for what he's doing for that team, I guess I'll give it to him because he is very important to them. He's scoring a ton of their points. Russ can come through every now and then on the offensive end, but it's mostly Bradley Beal doing the heavy lifting. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and just give him that starting spot. And then I have Jaylen Brown as my other starting backcourt.
That is a good point, but no, that is not why for me. Oh, and you gave Jaylen Brown? Okay. Wow.
Yeah, I don't have Kyrie only because Kyrie's been great. He did miss a little bit of time though, so
he did.
I'll just take him down for that. And again, those 2 guys I just think deserve the recognition a little bit more than Kyrie. Like everyone knows how good Kyrie is. It's just he's missed a little bit of time. But onto the front court where I think it's pretty safe. I think we probably have the same Kevin Durant, Giannis, and Embiid. Is that what you have?
Yep.
Okay. And again, none of these you can really argue. KD's been so good, dude. Like statistically, when I'm looking at it, I'm like, holy crap.
Yeah, he's crazy good. He really is. He's one of the best scorers ever.
I mean, look, he's averaging 31 points. He's shooting 53% from the field, 45% from three, 87% from the line. So damn near 50, 40, 90, and he's averaging 30 points a game.
How many assists?
I think around 5. I don't have that number in front of me.
That's fine. Because I was gonna say, I feel like he's getting a lot more assists this year too. But you got guys like now Harden, Kyrie, Joe Harris, Jeff Green. I mean, that's gonna help the numbers. But he's been
even Embiid's close to 50, 40, 90. Like he's at 84% from the line, but he's 55% from the floor, I think, and then 42% from three, averaging 29 and 11. And again, he's the other like MVP candidate. If you had to pick right now, who would you pick, Embiid or Jokic, or someone else if you want?
I'd as much as I want to say Jokic, I'd probably give it to Embiid because the Sixers are top 4 in the league, and to me, that's most important. Like, who adds the most value? Which I mean, Jokic has a shit ton of value, and I like Jokic a lot. Don't get me wrong, but just because they're 12 and 8, I think.
The Nuggets.
Yeah,
they're right around there.
Michael Porter missed a good chunk of time. Murray really hasn't been that great this year. I thought this was going to be his year to really step up. He hasn't been great. And KD for MVP, as good as he's been, I just can't give MVP to they got 3 of the best ISO players. I can't give MVP to one of those, I don't think.
Someone just said LeBron's the MVP. Get that out of here. Not yet. If he really steps up and deserves it, I'll recognize him as like he should be the MVP, but he is not the MVP right now. There's 3 guys probably better than him. But okay. Now we get to the bench, the reserves for the East. You do your backcourts.
Okay. Bradley Beal, I'll give you the spot off the bench. You got to start shooting better than 35% from 3, though, because I was just looking that up. That's why I was on my phone. And then I went with Zach Levine.
Okay.
I think this would be his first All-Star appearance.
Yeah, it would be.
So, Zach Levine, you're earning it. You're earning it.
Okay, I have Kyrie as my – again, we kind of just flipped Kyrie and Bradley Beal. I probably would prefer to have Bradley Beal or Kyrie Irving in the starting lineup, but I'm just give it to Bradley Beal so people can stop whining. And then my other guard on the bench, Trae Young.
Wow.
Trae Young's good, dude.
Wow.
I mean, he's annoying with how he plays, but like all it is like him just baiting people into fouls and stuff. But he's averaging 27 and 9.
I
Can't really argue with that.
I want to see what he's shooting this year, and this isn't just towards your pick because he's shooting about what he normally does.
Yeah, his shooting's fine. The defense obviously is bad, but 27 points, 9 assists, like that's
can't argue that.
So I'm giving him the nod. And again, this isn't really in order. These are just kind of just how I put it, but it doesn't really matter the order. The reserves are the reserves. So, okay, we'll get to front court now in the East for the reserves. To start things off, we got to put in Cash Money, Chris Middleton. If he doesn't get in, I'm going to be furious, but he will. He will.
He will, absolutely.
And then I have Jason Tatum. And I have dude, this is where it gets really tough because there's so many guys you could put here.
This is an easy pick, Nate. This is an easy pick.
Well, I might have him in my other too. But my other front court is Domantas Sabonis.
All right, yeah, there we go.
So
Love Europeans.
As far as Middleton, I mean, 21, 6, and 6, shooting 50, 40, 90, 46% from 3. And he's 6th in the entire league in win shares right now, so it kind of just shows how valuable he's been. His offense has been amazing. And then Tatum averaging 27 and 7, 41% from 3. I do think Tatum's kind of, I don't want to say overrated. Like, he is kind of overrated, but he doesn't mean he's bad. He's still really good, but like, I don't know. He's not the superstar that some people seem to think he is, but he's really good. Definitely an all-star to me. And
That's
then,
a bold take.
What'd you say?
Bold from Nate Marzian. Who's going to be tweeting at him? Tatum over.
It's not like an overrated. He's bad. It's just I don't know. He gets a little bit too much hype to me, but he's still.
No, I know what you're saying.
Yeah. And then Sabonis 22, 12, and 6, 56% from the field. He's awesome. I mean, okay. Well, I don't want to spoil the picks that I have later, but that's my front court. So
I have the same 3.
Okay, really?
Yep.
I was not expecting that.
So we've been the same so far. Not Trae Young other than Trae Young and Zach Levine, which
and we have that starting lineup.
And the 2 flipped, but yeah.
All right. Yeah, the same players overall.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now you do your 2 wild card picks.
Okay, my first wild card I gave to Bam Adebayo.
I don't hate it, but next
just because he's had to kind of carry the load with Jimmy out. Then I went with a guy that's having a career year.
Someone said Blake Griffin? No way. Give me a break. Okay, go ahead.
A guy having a career year, tying his career year, Gordon Hayward.
Okay.
He's having a really good year. He is having
a good year. He's putting up, 22 on like 50% shooting?
Yeah, I think so.
Something right around there. He's been good, but I'm not really digging it. I'm going with James Harden as one. It's James Harden, dude.
I left him out.
And then my final one, where's my boy Jake in the chat? Zach Levine. He loves Zach Levine, big Bulls guy. I do have Zach Levine in here. And yeah, as you said, Levine's been awesome. He's averaging 27, 5, and 5, shooting nearly 50, 40, 90. Like, that's just crazy. 27 on 50, 40, 90. You got to give him credit for that. And then Harden's averaging 24, 11, and 7. Like, Harden's Harden. I just feel like he deserves that. And someone said, ain't no way Harden not making the team. I honestly would be more shocked if he didn't make it than if he did. Harden's great. Like, he is. I don't really like him, but I wouldn't hate it if he I wouldn't have a problem if you want. The guys I left off: Julius Randle, Malcolm Brogdon, Bam, Colin Sexton, Jeremy Grant, Gordon Hayward. Like, those guys are great. If you want to put them in over James Harden, I don't have a huge issue with it. I don't think you can have an issue with James Harden being in there because he's still really good.
Yeah, no, he'll most likely make it, but I'm probably pretty sure he'll make it. I don't know. Gordon Hayward, Zach Levine. Hayward shooting 43% from 3, but like you said, Harden's Harden.
He has been good. Someone said, thoughts on Tyler Hero? Definitely not an all-star. Let's just leave it at that. Is there anyone else you have on your snub list as far as the East, or like your could have been on?
Trae Young is on there, Harden, John Collins.
Yeah, you didn't have Trae Young at all. Kind of surprised.
No, Julius Randle, and then I put Miles Turner on there for his recognition. I don't know. He's blocking like 3.5 shots a game.
He's playing really good defense. I was looking at this stat that is like a impact per 100 possessions kind of stat, and he's, as far as defense goes, I think he's number 1 in the league.
Okay.
As far as defensive impact, so like
D-boy?
Maybe. Miles Turner, Defensive Player of the Year, starting the campaign right here. But yeah, so that does it for our NBA All-Star picks. Again, guys are going to get left off. Like, anyone you include, if I wanted to include someone, then you're leaving Harden off. You're leaving, even again, Julius Randle's been great. Like, Randle's averaging 23, 11, and 6. Brogdon's been great. He's averaging 22 and 7, 40% from 3. Bam's great, but like, I don't know. Colin Sexton's great. Jeremy Grant. Like, there's just so many good players, dude.
Like, realistically, too, James Harden will make it, and I would put him probably over Bam, but maybe I was being a little biased leaving Harden off. I didn't like the way he started in Houston.
Yeah.
But
and that should factor in a little bit, but I still just think he's, like, just talking about who's the best players, he's got to be in there.
No, absolutely. Also, got to ask you one more thing.
Yes.
What's your opinion on, because I actually don't fully know, what's your opinion on DJ Wilson?
DJ Wilson. I mean, I'm sick of like the whole DJ Wilson deserves more time kind of thing, where like people just for the past few years it's always been like, oh, if DJ Wilson got more time, he actually has potential, and I'm like, he doesn't really have potential. Like he can give you a nice game every once in a while, but he's just I don't know, like he's not that good, and I just want to move on from him so we don't have to deal with this every time. Like whenever if he ever did play, like it's always as soon as he makes a good play, it's like, oh, why aren't we giving DJ Wilson more minutes? And no.
What about this Marquette question before we take off?
What was it?
Who's a better prospect, Justin Lewis or Dawson Garcia?
Give me Justin Lewis.
Dawson Garcia or DJ Carton?
Dawson Garcia.
Okay.
Dawson Garcia. Yeah, I'm just looking at other comments, see if there's anything good in here. But
Bobby Portis has been really good for us.
Yeah, definitely not Bobby Portis snub. Definitely not an all-star. Obviously, I know that's probably a joke, but
yeah,
he's been so good, like off the bench. Just a nice guy that can get a bucket. Like you can give him the ball in isolation and he can actually get a bucket, which we haven't had off the bench since. I mean, George Hill kind of last year was the one guy that like if he was in there with a bunch of other scrubs, you could at least be like George Hill can kind of carry the offense. It's kind of what it is with Bobby Portis. Like he can kind of be the guy that carries offense for a little bit. But in my opinion, like Giannis, Chris, or Drew should almost be out there almost every second of the game. At least one of them,
Yeah.
If not two, but if like when they always run their all bench lineup at the end of the first quarter where they got like Dante as like the primary guy, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know this kid that keeps saying this stuff, Marquette stuff?
I think I recognize the name, but I don't know for sure. Lots of Marquette's brutal offense. What's their greatest weakness offensively? I mean, they have the talent. They have. They just. I don't know. I don't really want to talk about Marquette because Marquette's very frustrating, and every time I watch them, I just get more and more disappointed. But hey, we have Creighton on Saturday.
Yeah, that's a big game.
I know Brad who just said everything. Everything's wrong with their offense, but at least the talent's there. So, yeah, I can't comment on that, Hayden. But
I was going to ask if you comment on that.
I cannot comment on the coaching staff of Marquette. I can't.
One more thing for any Wisconsin fans out there: don't let the media fool you. Duke, North Carolina is not the biggest game this weekend. Wisconsin plays Illinois. Big chance for a big win.
Wisconsin has been doing too good.
No, they dropped it.
Yeah. All right. Well, that should do it for us. Thanks everyone for joining, following along, either on Twitter or if you're listening to this later on Spotify or whatever you're listening on. Thanks for joining, and we'll have another podcast coming soon. Oh, by the way, Super Bowl prediction really quick. What you got?
Super Bowl prediction?
Yep.
Man, I was asked this earlier. I really don't know. I think I'm going to have to go Tampa Bay.
Oh, I'm surprised.
This is the thing for me. If Tampa Bay's defense doesn't step up, they're probably going to get ran off the field. But if
yeah. Like okay. I thought you meant the Chiefs, and I was like, well,
if Tampa Bay's like secondary doesn't step up, like
that's the thing. It all comes down to what defense shows up. Yep.
And I think the Chiefs have a more complete defense than Tampa Bay. But you never know. I hate to say it, but you never know Tom Brady. So
with freaking Tom Brady, you never know.
You don't. What about you?
I would not bet on the game because I'm never going to bet against Brady. But I'm picking the Chiefs. It does depend though. Like if the good Bucs defense doesn't show up, they're probably screwed no matter what. Mm-hmm. If good Bucs defense shows up, they have a chance. And if you keep it close, Brady's always in it. So, yeah, that does it for us. I wish the Packers were playing this weekend, but we won't get into that. That's another day. We didn't even do a podcast on that game because I don't really want to get into that. So we'll have another podcast coming pretty soon, probably talk more about the Bucs as more and more happens. We got the Cavs on Friday, and then I know they play Saturday too, and Saturday. We have back-to-back games against the Cavs.
Okay.
And so hopefully we can get a couple more wins. And if you make sure you don't make any plans Friday or Saturday night, tell your significant other to wait till Sunday to hang out because the Bucks play. So don't make any plans. Friday or Saturday night. Staying in to watch the Bucks. Okay, that's it for us, guys. We'll catch you later and see you guys.